Welcome. Today, I want you to basically think of me as your personal psychologist, because we are going to unravel the secret, often completely unconscious language behind why we clean. We're breaking down what we call the architecture of visual calm. And listen, this isn't just an explainer about organizing your closet or, finding the absolute perfect storage bin. No, this is a deep dive into the human nervous system, because for a lot of us, creating order isn't a luxury, and it's certainly not just about neatness. It's fundamentally a form of survival.
Picture this. You walk into your kitchen after a really long day. You see a pile of mail on the counter, maybe just a few dirty dishes in the sink, and suddenly, bam! You feel this sharp, intense spike of irritation that honestly seems totally out of proportion to the actual mess, right? Maybe a partner or a roommate has even told you, hey, you're being dramatic or you're being too controlling. Well, I want to validate that immediate emotional reaction for you right now. You are not being dramatic. What you're actually experiencing in that exact moment is your nervous system desperately screaming out for a safety signal in a world that feels increasingly out of your hands.
So here is our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at why we clean to focus. Second, the science of visual calm. Third, healing from childhood chaos. Fourth, liberators versus chasers. And finally, some actual habits for environmental mastery.
All right, part one, why we clean to focus.
Okay. Imagine you have this massive deadline looming over you. But instead of sitting at your computer and actually doing the work, you find yourself on your hands and knees scrubbing the bathroom grout. I mean, we have all been there, right? And we've all totally beaten ourselves up for procrastinating. But here is the fascinating truth. You aren't procrastinating. You're actually regulating your nervous system. You're engaging in this highly effective, subconscious strategy to create external order. You see, you're signaling to your brain that your immediate environment is safe and controlled. Why? So your internal mind can finally feel secure enough to focus on that big deadline. You're quite literally setting the stage for concentration.
Which brings us right to part two, the science of visual calm.
To really get this, we have to talk about how your brain processes noise. And I don't just mean audio noise, I'm talking about visual noise. So cognitive load is basically the amount of mental effort your brain has to spend just to understand and manage what's happening around you. Think of your brain like a computer. When you have way too many tabs open on your web browser, what happens? The whole system slows down, the fan starts spinning, it just gets completely overwhelmed. Well, that is exactly what physical clutter does to your brain.
When all those physical tabs are left open, the clutter gives your brain literally 1,000 tiny tasks to manage simultaneously. Every single time you walk past the entryway, your brain unconsciously registers. Oh, gotta move those shoes. You glance at the desk, file that paper, or deal with that receipt from 2015. For people with high perceptual sensitivity, that clutter doesn't just look messy, it feels actively, physically exhausting. It creates this massive mental backlog that drains your mental bandwidth. It's like a relentless hum that just never lets you fully power down.
So here is the absolutely crucial point. Understanding the neurobiology of why tidying acts as this incredible psychological reset button. At their core, our brains are prediction machines. They absolutely love knowing what's going to happen next. When a room is tidy and predictable, your brain knows exactly what to expect. When the outside world finally matches your internal need for order, cortisol, which is your body's primary stress hormone, literally drops. You physically relax. Meanwhile, just completing these small, manageable tasks, like maybe straightening a pillow or clearing off a counter, releases dopamine. It's this quiet chemical whisper telling you, hey, you've got this.
Moving right along to part three, healing from childhood chaos.
For a lot of people, this architecture of visual calm we're talking about was actually built a long time ago. It's often a direct response to a chaotic past. If you grew up in a home where, say, a mess meant tension was brewing, or where nothing really felt predictably safe, well, your adult habits take on a completely different meaning. You might be using organization today to actively manufacture the stability that you just never had as a kid. It's honestly incredibly profound when you realize that for so many, decluttering isn't just about throwing things away. It's literally a trauma response. It's a conscious, active letting go of old versions of yourself that simply don't serve you anymore so you can finally reclaim your environment.
I really want you to just sit with this quote for a second. Every organized shelf becomes a silent promise to your younger self. Wow. When you realize that your space is finally completely under your control, your nervous system can truly, deeply settle. You are telling that younger version of yourself that this space is different, that here you are safe and here you are in charge.
Let's dive into part four, liberators versus chasers. Okay, let's contrast two distinct archetypes here, and I want you to mentally check which one you might be. First up, we have the liberators. Liberators declutter, and they genuinely feel lighter. They've learned the absolutely vital lesson that their memories live securely in their minds, not in their physical objects. It's a very healthy letting go. On the flip side, we have the chasers. Chasers often find themselves completely caught in a behavioral loop, cleaning over and over just to cope with a world that feels overwhelmingly out of control. They use that quick dopamine hit from a clean room to temporarily numb their anxiety. So diagnosing which archetype you lean toward is a massive first step in understanding whether your habits are actually serving your peace or if they're just masking your panic.
Finally, Part 5. Habits for Environmental Mastery.
The ultimate goal we are striving for here is what psychologists call environmental mastery. This is your ability to control your surroundings in a way that directly supports your internal well-being. It's about transforming your home into an active extension of a healthy, calm mind. You want a space that constantly reflects back to you the message, I am capable. Listen, it is not about achieving some impossible magazine cover aesthetic. It's about engineering an environment where your shoulders can finally drop and your racing thoughts can finally slow down.
So how do we actually get there? By implementing really small, completely achievable daily steps that lower our stress hormones and build impenetrable focus. Step 1. Start small. Clear just the coffee table before you start your day. Just one single surface. Step 2. Wipe down the kitchen counter. Remember, this acts as an immediate physical safety signal to your nervous system. Step 3. If you find yourself needing a structured pathway to clear that massive mental backlog without getting totally overwhelmed, use the resources we have for you. I've actually linked a bundle of 7-day guides and planners right in the description of this explainer, and they're specifically designed to help you tackle this, just one small task at a time. These are your stepping stones to true mastery.
I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought to chew on today. Is cleaning a chore to you, or is it your favorite form of therapy? I would genuinely love to hear your answers and your stories down in the comments. Hearing how you all navigate this really helps us realize that our so-called weird habits are usually just our brains trying their absolute best to keep us whole and safe. Remember, visual calm is your way of creating a sanctuary where the chaos of the outside world simply has no power over you. Your peace is absolutely worth the effort it takes to create it. Keep learning, keep organizing, and I'll see you in our next explainer.